the finish. They were like being in the playoff scenario. String, you having it up just a bit. Able to see the nice transition bases, getting the dream team. Except the 76ers any point in his career. I'm going to go with working together as a well-oiled finish. They were like, they keep this momentum going. At the same time, I just can't wait for the chance to do, dunk it and either, that's. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 6 for 6. We got the best 6 sporting events for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get down to business. I know we got the MLB All-Star Game happening tonight, so I'm going to try to keep this program on a little bit of the shorter side so you can enjoy the pregame festivities at the All-Star Game, ladies and gentlemen, for MLB. But before we get going, let me, go through some, announces, some house cleaning items before we get into our 6 for 6 tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So tonight we have to remind you that we have other programs on the MI6 Sports Network. So starting off tonight, we have the Sports Lounge at 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern. For those who can't sleep at night or just having a tough night trying to sleep, that 1 a.m. Eastern time with Callan, it's going to be great, enjoying the nice, recap of the day. Enjoying the environment of the Sports Lounge. Definitely worth the time if you're up around that time. But this is really good for the West Coast people. 10 p.m. Pacific time. Really enjoying yourself during the Sports Lounge as Callan, recaps the day and the stuff that happened over the weekend. Going, combining it with the night shift and all that stuff. But the Sports Lounge, great fun-filled environment. Definitely, check that out. Next up on our housekeeping items is the MI6 NBA draft extravaganza happening on July 29th at 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 5:15 p.m. Pacific. Definitely tune in. We're going to have, the MI6 team and Coast to Coast definitely, checking this out. Being there, giving our reactions to the, NBA draft and, just seeing, how this draft unfolds out. So definitely tune in to see what happens. Also, next up, we have fan response. It's happening tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific with Sammy and Ryan. Great, when they had their debut, definitely fantastic. And their last episode that they had recently, definitely a good time. So definitely tune in, enjoy yourself, comment on their posts so they can, talk about some of your comments as well as, getting the fans involved. Definitely worth your time and, I should say not time and resources, but, your effort of tuning into the show because they have a really good dynamic reaction, but good takes and all that stuff. But also we have Wild Sports Talk happening July 15th at 9:10 p.m. Eastern, 6:10 p.m. Pacific. Definitely check that out. Definitely worth your time. They got also coming up on that, they got a big announcement, so definitely stay tuned, coming up in the coming days as they make their big announcement. But before I, get into our 6 for 6, I got a couple comments from our glorious fans for 6 for 6. We have Brandon Herrera says, "What's up, Trevor? It's great. Glad that you're tuning in." He says, "Yes, keep it short for Isaiah Leung so you can follow up." You are so right, Brandon. Isaiah will go on a nice long rant about, his teams and all that stuff. But let's get down to business, ladies and gentlemen. But for our first 6 for 6 game that we have tonight is Formula One racing, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we brought it back. The Rolex British Grand Prix, July 18th at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time on ESPN. If you're in the mood for Need for Speed, some nice road course racing with some F1 cars and the thrilling excitement of this race, this is the race for you, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely worth the time and effort, enjoying the racing and all the excitement that is built upon this, sporting event. Definitely worth the time and effort to, be able to partake in it. I like these, F1 racing. The race is very short, very quick, and very easy to enjoy, and it's a nice, fast-paced environment, and it's definitely, worth the time and effort, experiencing that. Next on our list, we have in the fifth spot for our 6 for 6, we have the X Games 2021, ladies and gentlemen, happening this week from July 14th through the 18th. You can find this on ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC of all the good, tricks, BMX, you name it, skateboarding, all the fun events, freestyle, you name it. Definitely tune in. If you're in the mood for that, nice tricks, being part of the cool kids, releasing your inner, skateboarding, child inside of yourself, definitely take your time and enjoy this game. The sporting events that happen in the X Games, definitely worth your time and wild and efforts in that. Next up, we have a great one for you, ladies and gentlemen. In the number 4 spot, we have the WNBA All-Star Game. Team USA, yes, the women's team and the WNBA team will go at it tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific time on ESPN. Definitely check out Team USA as they prepare, for the Olympics. And this is, that first, real action that you see the Team USA before they go to the Tokyo Olympics. So definitely going to be a good matchup at seeing the best that the WNBA has to offer between these two teams. So tune in, give these ladies some support, and, cheer on Team USA as they take on the best of the WNBA All-Stars. Definitely worthwhile in that. Next, let's do a quick recap, for all those who are just recently tuned in. We have, F1 Racing Rolex British Grand Prix, July 18th, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific on ESPN. Next up, we have our X Games right here, ladies and gentlemen. X Games 2021, July 14th to the 28th. The 18th, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm saying the 28th. The 18th, I'm probably thinking the draft extravaganza, which is on the 29th. But you can find the X Games on ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC with all the cool, tricks and all the cool sporting events that come with the X Games, from BMX riding to, the big half pikes, you name it. X Games is definitely have it. Definitely give your time to give that. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we have the WNBA All-Star Game with Team USA versus the WNBA team. So that is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on ESPN. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Red Sox Yankees. You got to have this on here on a 6 for 6. And you're going to ask, Trevor, why didn't you put, the Red Sox Yankees in the top spot? Well, let me get down to it, ladies and gentlemen. The Yankees are not doing hot. Let's just be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. They're the most expensive, one of the most expensive teams in MLB, and they're almost breaking 500. That's kind of embarrassing, but this rivalry shall always live up to its expectations. Definitely worth its while. Red Sox Yankees definitely gonna be interesting because the Yankees don't want to be 500. Let's be real. You have all that team, all that firepower, and you're getting close to 500. Boston's taking care of business. But it's, like I said, it's an American classic. You can't go wrong with this game. And if you want to get into baseball, this is a game for you to tune into. This is like the backbone of America's baseball. Next, Yankees, Cubs with that historical rivalry. But, let's move on to our number 2 spot. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we're going to try to keep this program short tonight, the shorter side. We have the NBA, not the NBA. Oh, my gosh. I am sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Long day at work. I'm sorry for that hiccup. But the MLB All-Star Game happening tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific on Fox. You have the American All-Stars versus the National All-Stars. Definitely a good game in that. Definitely tune in and, enjoy yourself in that time for the, MLB All-Star Game with some of the best, players in the league, duking it out in this All-Stars weekend. In the comments section, predict what you think the game is going to be. Like, what's the final score that you're going to think is going to end up happening in this, all-star game? Let me know in the comments what you think, the final score will be. But before I get to the number one spot, let's do a quick recap for our fans and viewers of tonight's program. So before I release, the number one topics, like I said, I'm keeping this, program on the shorter side, maybe going on a little 5 extra more minutes, maybe, see where that goes. Don't hold me to it where we end in 15, but let's do a quick recap of all the sporting events that we have tonight before I reveal my number one pick. Starting us off in the 6th spot, we have F1 racing with the Rolex British Grand Prix, July 18th from 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific on ESPN. If you're feeling the need for speed, smelling that rubber, and hearing those F1 engines go off, definitely tune in for that. Next up, we have the X Games 2021. It's happening this week, July 14th through the 18th on ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC. Feeling those nice tricks, doing those 180s, 360 spins, doing a kickflip and grinding on different, objects in the skate park. Definitely tune in for the X Games to relieve, your tricksters in you in that event, in those events. Next up, we have the WNBA All-Star Game happening tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on ESPN. You got Team USA and the WNBA All-Star Team duking it out in that event. Definitely tune in to give these women some support. And as root on for Team USA. As this is a great prelim game to warm up for the Olympics that's going to be happening in a little over, a week's time, 10 days, because I think the opening ceremony is on the 23rd of July. But don't quote me on that. Next up, we have the Red Sox Yankees. Yes, the American Classic, ladies and gentlemen. July 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on ESPN. Like I said, the Yankees are in hot water. This is like a Yankees team that we normally don't see that's being 500. So this game kind of means something because it's a rivalry and you don't, back down, let your rivals beat you in this game. I know they have, a series coming up this week, but this is the first of the series. And there's no other MLB games happening on that day. So definitely tune in if you're trying to get into baseball. This is the game for you. But like I said, this why we're keeping tonight's program on a little bit of the shorter side is the MLB All-Star Game, the American Conference versus National, happening tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific on Fox. Definitely worth the time seeing all the great, baseball athletes in this game. I know Monday was the home run derby. I didn't put that on my list because I forgot about it. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I forgot about All-Star week for MLB. That's why I didn't put on the home run derby last week. I deeply apologize about that. But, make sure you tune into the, All-Star Game tonight. Like I said in the comment section, let me know what, your final prediction of this, score is going to be for this game. But let's reveal the number one selection. Before I reveal my number one selection, I got a comment coming in. We have, the MI6, page, tuning in. What's up, Trev? Watching your show right now. Well, I got the eggs and bacon sizzling on the grill. It's perfect for, All-Star Weekend for the MLB. Definitely for the NBA, WNBA. Just, getting your nice bacon and eggs, cooking up a good barbecue for yourself, or get some nice burgers and hot dogs as you chow down for it. And yes, Sean Murphy got robbed. Callum McClurg. Oh, boy. I'm guessing this is Isaiah. But I don't know. This is Callan. I don't know. Let me know, MI6 page. Let me know who you are and which of the MI6 crew is running the page for tonight's program. But let's reveal our number one. I think you guys all know what the number one selection is. It's pretty straightforward what the number one is. It's the NBA Finals Game 5. Yes, you can ask, why not Game 4? I think Game 4 is going to be making the series 2-2. In which making Game 5 the critical pinnacle point, going back into Phoenix, because this is a prime steal game, because, Phoenix, they just got blown out against Milwaukee last game in Game 3. Game 4, Bucks are at home. They're trying to make that nice, strong homestand, get that momentum going to Game 5 so they can steal it and try to end it in Game 6 in Milwaukee. But as we all know, this series has been, blowout central. We need something kind of competitive, I want to say. Devin Booker and Chris Paul really putting on a great performance and stuff like that we've seen. But it's really going to boil down how Game 5 is. This is going to be the pinnacle point of how this series is going to end up swaying. Because let's say the Suns win, in a good fashion, like it's a blowout in Game 5. They can steal it. But if, you're the Suns, you kind of want to win this at home. So you may lose Game 6 and try to win it in 7. But don't put that pressure on yourself because you got a young squad and you got all those young jitters. Don't do that to yourself. In the game, ended at 6, though it's going to be in Milwaukee. Definitely try to end this series as fast as possible because you don't want to get Giannis and Antetokounmpo hot in a Game 6, and now you're panicking, saying, what do we do? Now he's taking that momentum into a Game 7, and that's going to be a clash of the Titans in Game 7 if that does happen. But don't quote me on that, on if it's a Game 7 is going to happen. Most people think it's a Game 6 or Game 7, but like I said, Game 5 is the pinnacle point in this series. It's the swing point. It's the turning up the tides in this series on who's going to end up finishing the series out. I could be wrong about, the Game 5 winner end up winning the series. I could be completely wrong, but most times like this, the Game 5 winner, more I would say, could win this series, and I think that's very valid in this. But to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, Game 5, is happening July 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on ABC, where the NBA Finals are being housed. Oh, man, wow. But, I got a comment before I, do a quick recap in all of our programs. And, it's Isaiah Leung. He was the one who was doing the MI6, posts. And Kirsty Wilson has, Go Suns. And I think Isaiah was trying to get Casey King to tune in tonight's program. But, let's do a quick recap. I know, like I said earlier in tonight's program, we're trying to wrap this up in a nice, timely fashion so, y'all can enjoy the, MLB All-Star game tonight and all that stuff. I believe there is the NBA Game 4 happening tonight. And Isaiah, you are right. Blunders starting early tonight, Trevor. Trying to do a show in 30 minutes, it's tough. And on top of that, you have, the All-Star game happening tonight as well. So you're trying to, get programs through and all that stuff. And Isaiah, no, you're not getting a 2-hour program for me for a solo show. I don't have the stamina to it. If I practice for an hour, but I just have to have that long, extensive program. If I had, a co-host, yeah, I could probably do an hour show, a 2 6 for 6 and make it a dozen. So, my take for 6 for 6, then my co-host for 6 for 6, and you got a nice dozen. You got eggs right there, ladies and gentlemen. You got donuts, eggs. Think of all the dozens you can think of, and that's what I would have if I have a co-host and all that. Oh, boy. No, a 2-hour show. Yes, thank you, Kirsty Wilson. I will not be doing a 2-hour show for this show. It'd be ridiculous. Now, if I had, 12 games that I'm picking, I could get an hour, but that's just hard to pick, 12 games. Maybe in the football season, I can maybe get 12 because there's a lot of sporting events at that time. There's really a lot of good games. But right now, I think the perfect number is 6. There's a lot of good sporting events, making sure you hit all the sports, pretty much fair in that sense. So everyone gets fair, equal representation to the good games that are happening this week. So all the, you're trying a new sporting event so you can enjoy that. But let's do a quick recap to what we have tonight. So we got F1 racing that's happening July 18th at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific on ESPN. Next, we got the X Games in 2021 happening July 14th through the 18th on ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC. We also have the WNBA All-Star Game with Team USA versus the WNBA team happening tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on ESPN. We got the American Classic, ladies and gentlemen. The Red Sox Yankees, July 15th, the only MLB game that's happening on the 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on ESPN. Next up, we have the MLB All-Star Game, the American versus the National, happening tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific on Fox. So as you can see, I'm trying to rush through so you guys can enjoy yourselves and that. And like I said, we have the Bucks Suns Game 5, July 17th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on ABC. But before I close out tonight, I got to read, a couple more comments from our glorious fans tonight. We have, give the American League tonight by a high score of 10-8. Hey, I'll take it. And Kirsty Wilson says 6 is a good number for 6 for 6. That's what I agreed to. It kind of works because, the MI6 is the 6. And then you have, 6 best games. That's why we got a 6 for 6. And then we got the pool ball 6. If we ever do merchandise, on the MI6, we got to get the 6 for 6 shirt or something like that. Or, 6-piece Chicken McNugget shirt. Something on the side. I got my 6-piece right here. Or on the back, 6-piece. And chicken nuggets or a pool shape, the billiards on a shirt as well. The 6, in a pyramid type of scheme. Something like that. We got merchandise ideas. We're in the works for, 6 for 6 if we do go down that route. But that's in a later time when, the network's a little bit bigger, more fans tuning in and all that stuff. But, let me run through our quick announcements. So for all the programs that we have going on this week, we have the Sports Lounge tonight at 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern. From Callan, definitely tune in, enjoying the nice recap of the sporting events today and just him talking about sports in general and, the things that he goes on in his day-to-day. Definitely tune in, enjoy the Sports Lounge, kick back and relax, crack a cold one open, enjoy, and tune in for Callan's show and definitely enjoy yourself for that show. Next up, the NBA Draft Extravaganza on the MI Sports Network with the MI6 Sports Network with Coast to Coast joining in with us on the NBA Draft Extravaganza happening on July 29th at 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 5:15 p.m. Pacific time. Definitely tune in to our broadcast of the NBA Draft. Definitely worth your time. We have fan response happening tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Tune in on our network to have a really good time. Also, last but not least, we also have WST Wild Sports Top happening on July 15th at 9:10 p.m. Eastern at 6 p.m. at 6:10 p.m. Pacific time here on our network. You can also, tune in our YouTube channel for that as well if you can't get to Facebook, but if you're out and about and you're having issues. But, tune in on both of our pages, give us some views and some love on both of these platforms. Help us, get to our milestone over 100K views on all of our platforms for all of our shows combined. So we're working really close. I think we're at 1,600-ish views to go before we reach 100K views on all of our shows combined here on the network. So make sure you give us some love and all that. Before I close out tonight's program, I got a couple more comments coming in. Can't wait for Trevor to storm off set when his Magic drafts something stupid. I'm going to be lenient on my Magic. At some point, I feel like if we do Secret Santa, I feel like Isaiah is going to, pick something, all that stuff. Nathan says, watching while packing, hey, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the time that you do, Nate, for tuning in to my show. Gotta love it and all that stuff. And, thank you for tuning in. Also, we have, what else we got here? I promise no 50-minute segment from Ryan or Sammy's show tomorrow. Hey, we don't know what's going to happen on fan response. Sometimes we get into a heated debate and all that stuff. So all that stuff. And, Steven says, Kirsty Wilson, much love from her support and all of her comments that she does for, the MI6 Sports Network and showing her love and support for our network. But that will do it for us here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic show. Like I said, I was going to get you all out here tonight so you can enjoy, some of, the festivities of the All-Star weekend that we have here, the X Games, you name it, all the sporting events that are happening this week. Well, that will do it for us tonight on the 6 for 6 broadcast. Take care, everyone. Enjoy your evening. Like I said, if I forgot any games that I, left out, make sure you put them in the comments so they pop them on my radar so I make sure I focus on those sporting events next week on 6 for 6. But that will do it for us on tonight's program. Enjoy tonight's events, everyone, and see you all next week.